That was a bite, guys. That's unbelievable. Let me try to land him here. Wow, look at that. Hello, makeshifters. Few episodes ago, we have made this hot glue Thunder Creek jig. In the previous episode, we have made this jig weight that wiggles in the water. And in this episode, it's time to put them all together and do a jigging tutorial. As I was saying, guys, we are out on the water, and today I wanted to show you the most things I know about jigging. We have made this new weight, so we are all equipped to jig at our best ability. And jigging, it's one of my favorite fishing techniques, and it is more complex than I once thought and than what you think it might be. First, I'm gonna show you why jig fishing is similar to fishing with your hard rapalas or hard plastics or streamers. A streamer, or any kind of a lure that moves in the horizontal plane, it can be soft plastic, it can be your hard plastics, rapalas, or in this case a streamer. If we just take our streamer, cast it and reel it in, we will catch fish on it, but it's not going to be as effective. And then another kind of a simple retrieve you can do with a streamer is cast it, and then you can turn the reel and stop. So it's stop and go. You make it swim and then you stop, it falls. You make it swim and stop and falls. So that's stop and go. But the most kind of effective retrieve would be cast it and then you twitch it. You just pull it with the rod and then you use the reel to pick up the slack. So what you're doing is you're making it look like a dying fish. So guys, basically to effectively fish a jig, you need to do the kind of retrieve you do with your streamer, only not in horizontal plane but in vertical plane. Let me show you. So one kind of retrieve, the most simplest one I know, is you cast it, keep the rod tip high, let it sink, and then 2 turns with the reel and then stop. It falls, then 2 turns with the reel and stop. So what the lure does, it rises up when you're reeling, then when you stop reeling, it falls. So 2 turns and fall, 2 turns and fall. And what that is your basic stop and go retrieve for, let's say, when you fish in a streamer. A jig retrieve has 2 phases. Phase 1, the lure is lifting off the bottom, and then phase 1, it falls. And the idea behind a good, effective jigging retrieve is to break apart those 2 phases. Basically, if you reel in and the jig lifts, let's say on the count of 2 seconds, you reel it in, you go 1, 2, it lifts, then you pause and it falls 1, 2. So that retrieve is the same. So it's 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. To the fish, it's going to look like not such an injured fish, and maybe it still has a lot of power to escape because it's swimming in a controlled motion. To really make the jig retrieve good, I will let the lure fall at its speed, whatever the weight I'm using, that's the speed it's gonna fall at. But when I'm lifting the lure off the bottom, that's when the magic happens. So what I'm going to do, it can be anything. It can be 2 pulls, it can be just a 1 jerk. When the lure is lifting and you're doing 2 pulls, what that makes it do, it makes it move in an erratic motion. So I'm doing 2 pulls, it moves erratically and then falls at 1 speed that the weight allows it. And then again, once it hits the bottom, I twitch the rod again, it lifts up erratically and then falls calmly. To the predator, it looks like a dying, fleeing fish. Disorientated, doesn't know what's going on, easy prey. And the way I do that is easy. Cast, let it sink to the bottom, and then 2 pulls and 2 turns of the reel. Let it sink, 2 pulls and 2 turns of the reel. Let it sink, 2 pulls and 2 turns. So it's basically like twitching your streamer, only in vertical plane. Also guys, I want to talk about the factors that affecting how quickly the jig sinks. Well, first of all, it's the depth where you're fishing and if there's a current or no current. And then of course, one of the main criteria how fast the jig falls is the weight. It's the weight and then it's the thickness of the line. If your line is very thick, it's going to create drag and the jig will fall slower. Another way to control how fast your jig falls is the turns of the handle. An ideal time, in my opinion, for a jig to fall, it's between 1 and 3 seconds. So let's say if I make a turn and it falls on 2, so turn, 1, 2, it falls, that's okay. Or let's say if I do a turn and it goes 1, 2, 3 and then it falls, that's fine too. But if it falls too fast, then the fish doesn't have the time to grab it. Let me do a cast here. So let me see. That's 2 turns. 1, 2, 3. Yep. 2 turns. 1, 2, 3 falls. 2 turns. 1, 2, 3. Yep. That's okay. And as the closer it will get to the bank, the shallower it's going to be. So now you see 2 turns is not enough, so I'm going to switch to 3 turns. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and now 3 turns is not enough, so I'm going to switch to 4. 1, 2, yep. 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's how, by adjusting the number of turns you do on a retrieve, you can fish this different areas with the same weight. Just adjust the turns and it's gonna fall with the same speed. And I think final thing I will say about jig fishing, it is really good for judging the depth and know what the bottom is like. Because if you retrieve and the lure falls at the same speed all the time, it means that the bottom is flat. Or let's say if you retrieve and the lure falls 1 second, 1 second, and then all of a sudden 3 seconds, it means you're going into the kind of a deep hole or something. So it's really good way of judging the bottom and know where your holes and pockets are, and that can give you a fair idea of where the fish might be. Yeah, moves beautifully, guys. We're ready to cast it. Oh, that's a fish, guys. I can't believe it. That is a fish. Probably a perch. Yes. Wow. Look at that, guys. This is makeshift lures, and I approve this Thunder Creek jig and the new jig weight. That can be another perch. That was a good one. Different retrieve. I felt that bite, guys. Oh, that's a bit bigger one. There he goes, guys. Oh, that was a bite, guys. The perch are here. Doesn't matter the retrieve, the hopping, or along the bottom, or now on this next cast I'm gonna try a straight retrieve and see what happens. Look at that one, guys. He took it deep. All I see is a head sticking out of a jig. Let's take a picture of it, perhaps. There he goes. Let's try the normal 2 turns pause retrieve. Oh, first, as soon as it landed, I got a bite. That's unbelievable. That is something else, guys. What's going on? That is just, what can I say, guys? That's a perch frenzy over there. And I bet they're after the fry, similar size to my jig. Maybe that's why I'm getting them. There he goes. Let's try aggressive retrieve, guys. Aggressive pulls with the rod, so the lure will come up higher in the water and fall longer, and fish be able to see it from farther. Oh, oh, that's a good bite, guys. Oh, if it's a perch, it's a bigger one. Aggressive retrieve, guys. That's unbelievable. Let me see. What can it be? Oh, it's a bigger perch, guys. Oh, it's a nice one. Oh, look at that, guys. Makeshifters, that plastic bag that made in the frame of the video totally put a damper on catching that nice size perch. I didn't think that it will be in the frame, and I did dispose of that bag later. However, that gave me an idea, and I went into your local convenience store and I got myself a plastic bag that was compostable, and I did manage to make a lure out of it. So in the next few episodes I'm going to show you how to make this lure and fish with it. Let me attach the footage. Oh, there's a fish, guys. Unbelievable. Let's get back to our jigging tutorial. Whoa, let me wash it off. Oh, look at that, guys. That's a bigger one. That was awesome. Barely hooked. Look at that. Let me check the size, maybe 29 centimeters, guys. Look at that. That's not bad. There he goes. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is something bigger, guys. Could that be a bigger perch again? That's a good one, guys. That feels like a bit bigger fish. Oh yes. Let's see. That feels like a bigger one. Oh yes. Oh. Oh, look at that, guys. Look at that. That's a bit bigger. That's awesome. There he goes. Oh, that was a good bite, guys. Wow, that was a good bite. If it's a perch, it's kind of a bigger size. Yes, it's a perch, guys. Let me try to land him here. Wow, look at that. Wow, guys, look at that. That's a good perch. Look at that, guys. That's the biggest one today. That's the biggest yet. That's unbelievable. Let's take a picture with him. That's a good sized perch, guys. "34 centimeters, guys. That's the same as my personal best. That's unbelievable." There he is. There he goes, guys. I can see his red fins paddling. Oh, unbelievable. Wow, look at that hail, guys. Just unbelievable. Makes you feel small, very small. The creations and power of the nature. That was a bite, guys. That's unbelievable. Oh, hooked off. Let's try the caster again, maybe. Oh yes, yes. That's something else. Look at that, guys. Okay guys, day is coming to an end. Last few casts with the jig and it'll be home time. It was a awesome day. That was really rewarding, guys. New weight, did well, got lots of bites, caught perch, caught a 34 centimeter perch, which was my personal best before. Must have been doing something right today since I got so many bites. And hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about jigging. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna take some rest and think of a new lure for our box.